Good afternoon, and here is another video. Thank you for watching. If you find these videos helpful, please click the subscribe button down below. It is much appreciated and keeps me going with these videos, and hopefully they're helping everybody out here in the Lawyer Nation. So today we're going to talk about how to choose a good lawyer SEO agency, attorney, SEO company, or maybe you're just looking for SEO for your law firm. So today we're going to talk about some things to look for and how to pick that right company, right guy, right gal, whatever the situation may be. Okay, so thanks for joining me. So let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, so I'm going to make this kind of a shorter video today. I'm just going to hit kind of a bullet list of things that an insider, or at least I, would recommend that you look for. And it'll kind of weed out all the other guys and stuff like that. So the problem with picking a good SEO company nowadays is the pandemic. And what I mean by that is, like right now I'm working out of my home, but I also have an office, but I very rarely go there right now just because of everything that's going on, right? So whereas before I would have advised you, hey, if you got somebody working out of their home, in other words, they don't have enough money to pay for an office and phone lines and internet and stuff like that, they're probably not your guy, right? But that's not the case anymore. I think work from home environment is very common nowadays, and don't know if that would necessarily be a red flag, but it could be. It's just, asking the rest of the questions here. So question number one. Do you have employees, or are you a solo practice? So just like yourself. So here's the reality, okay? Marketing and SEO is extremely time consuming. This isn't you spend 30 minutes to an hour, maybe a couple hours, and you're done for the day, right? It just doesn't work like that. To truly excel in this field, you have to do the data, analyze the data, analytics. You're looking at every single thing. You're checking out your competitors on a daily basis. You're watching their rankings. How far close are they coming to the keywords that you're trying to rank for? SEO is a forever changing industry, always will be, because Google, Bing, whoever the search engine is that you're using. Obviously Google is probably the biggest one, right? So, which is where everybody's trying to rank for and stuff like that, is they're constantly changing their algorithms. They are constantly trying to improve. And I think what a lot of people forget is Google's a business, just like you, just like I, me, that we're trying to constantly improve, right? So when you put in car accident attorney near me, they want to give you the most relevant local option, right? And believe it or not, they really do want to give you that local option. So make sure where I was going with this is, do they have employees? Are they paying for an office? Do they pay for phones? Stuff like that. It shows a little bit of stability. Or is this just a solo deal? In other words, they're just doing it themselves. Okay. Everybody's starting out. You know what? I don't know if that necessarily being by yourself is necessarily a bad thing, but it can be. So the simple fact of the matter is, if they have more than one or two clients and they're by themselves, they're not doing the best job they could possibly do. And that's just the truth. So, make sure that you're asking, hey, do you have employees? Do you have a team? Is it just you? Like, know what you're getting into, right? Because as a solo guy, not only is he marketing for you, but now he has to market for himself. And you know how time consuming it is. Otherwise you wouldn't be watching these videos. The simple fact of the matter is, as an attorney or a lawyer, legal profession, you guys just don't have the time for the marketing, right? It's your profession is your full-time job. So this should be the same thing. So now if I got to turn around, and if I'm just a solo guy and now I have to market my company as well, there's only so many hours in a day, right, to grow. So just don't fall for the trap. So number two, Do they do local SEO or national SEO? All right, so what's the difference? I'm sure you probably already figured out just by the terms, right? Local. So I'm in the city of Houston. So local SEO is like, hey, Mike, I want to get ranked for Houston or Texas. Definitely Texas would not be an issue either, right? So that would be probably considered local SEO. But you're looking at a very small, defined geographic area. National SEO, that's a whole nother game. I don't take on national clients. I'll be honest with you, I just don't have the team to handle national clients, at least people that I would stick my name to, that come to work every single day and are probably at my level or higher. Because in a national SEO campaign, the algorithms are, even though the algorithms are somewhat the same throughout, the local market vernacular, the local market, everything is completely different. So national SEO campaigns are a definite separate level of expertise. So you need to ask, hey, where does your level of expertise lie? Number two, does it align with your goals? So if you call me and you say, hey, Mike, I want to own Texas and Colorado, California, and Oklahoma. So just some made up states, right? I'm going to let you know right up front that I'm not your guy. I'm the local SEO guy. So I will definitely dominate the local search engine rankings for you, locally. But I just don't want to I'm at the time in my business where I don't want to build that team to create that national presence, right? So I'm very picky on who I work with, but unfortunately a lot of guys are not. They'll just give you the lip service and say, yep. And then all of a sudden you are not in a good situation. So let me turn on this do not disturb here. I forgot to do that. All right. Next, referrals. Do they have any reviews? Go to Google. I mean, that's what we're all ranking for is Google, right? Do they have any Google reviews? You don't need a guy with 100 reviews. I mean, you can, but that should also be a red flag to you because with a lot of the bigger SEO agencies where they have hundreds of reviews, you're fighting for a spot against their own client, right? So on these agencies who take on tons and tons of clients, how do they pick? There's only 10 spots on page one, right? And usually 2 or 3 of them are filled up by the big national directories, and stuff like that. So really you're talking about 5 to 7 spots on page one, right? So if you go in with the biggest SEO company you can find because you think that's the safest option, it may be, but let me tell you something. You better come in with a big checkbook because who do you think they're going to put on page one, right? You're competing against 100 other guys or attorneys and lawyers in that agency to be on page one. Hundreds. And there's only 5 to 7 spots. So who are they going to put on page one? Well, if you're just starting out and you only got a $3,000 budget, it ain't going to be you. So, again, I could whine and complain about that all day long, but some people still pick the biggest, which I truly don't understand. But unless you have a ton of money, they're not your solution. Okay. What tasks? All right. So what are they going to do for you on a monthly basis? Okay. If they come out with this pre-printed PDF and it says, okay, you're going to get 2 blogs, a backlink, I'm going to set you up in Google Data Studio, and I'm going to do all these things. But then if you notice, for the next 4 months, 6 months, 12 months, it's the same thing every single month. Do you really think that's going to get you to where you need to be? As I mentioned earlier in the video, the goal line for us, the SEO guys, is constantly changing. You know, we might be hitting the 5-yard line. Google completely upends their algorithm to change something, and guess what? Now all of a sudden you're back at the 10, right? The algorithm changes all the time, every day. So that is a pet peeve of mine when I always ask, okay, send me if you're coming from another SEO agency, Send me the contract so I can kind of see what they did, didn't do, stuff like that, or what they were supposed to do and not do, all that. Just so I can review, so I'm not messing things up, right? So, and you'll be surprised at how many I see come across, and it's the same damn thing month after month. Guys, that's not what you need. Gals, that's not what you need. You need somebody that is specialized and focused on your campaign and can change and pivot on a monthly basis, right? Now, with that being said, if you're going to get into SEO, you have to be in it for at least 6 to 12 months, because anything shorter than that, the data, the analytics just doesn't come back quick enough. You don't see that gain or traction. It's not like I can add a backlink and all of a sudden you're ranking tomorrow, right? It just doesn't work that way. So content, all supporting content, there's all sorts of different things, citations that just take time to index and stuff like that. So the tasks. What are you going to do for me on the monthly basis? More importantly than that, what kind of reporting or insight do I get, or visibility into what's been done and stuff like that? I think that's a pretty important one, right? Long-term contracts. Do they lock you in forever and ever? Okay. What happens if you don't like them? I would highly advise, I already have another video on my channel. So please go down below and click the link to view my channel and say, watch the video, what's in an SEO contract. That's pretty important, because if you're locked into long-term contracts and 6 months from now, you don't like them, you got a problem. So, and you're just gonna, throw money out the window. So not worth it. So, reporting, just touched on this. Visibility, right? Transparency. That's what business should be all about. So you really need to ask yourself, okay, so if I'm going to get in a relationship with this guy, this company, this gal, whoever you end up choosing, what kind of reports are you giving me, and where is that reporting coming from? Is this third party? Like you guys have heard the term used, third-party facts and evidence, right? So is this source coming from a third party, or am I just typing something up in Microsoft Word and saying, here you go? You want transparency, you want visibility into your SEO campaign, because as they go through and explain stuff on a monthly basis, you're going to get smarter and smarter, and all of a sudden you'll start to sniff out the BS, right? So reporting, make sure it's transparent, happens every single month. Don't wait 4 months, don't wait 6 months, it's too late by then. Ask for the reporting and the transparency and visibility, at least on a monthly basis. So anything more than a month is probably overkill, micromanaging, because like I said, anything that we do on the SEO side, although you'll see some changes on your site and stuff like that next day and stuff like that, most SEO work just doesn't move that fast. So, but monthly reporting is more than sufficient to keep you in the loop, and it keeps you learning about it as well. So, how many clients do they take on per city? This is a big deal, right? I touched on this a little bit. There's a lot of really big SEO agencies out there. They have some really cheap prices. Why? Because they have 100 of you all competing for the same spot in the same city. I don't care who you are. That's not fair, right? So, and the guys who get to the first page are the ones who pony up the cash. So don't compete against your own agency. That's just stupid. So, I truly, truly believe that there are a lot of small businesses out there, the medium-sized SEO companies, that will give you a far better personal touch and absolutely explode your SEO campaign. Like I had one guy last year, we just reviewed it here a couple weeks ago, 750% increase in leads to his business calling. 750%. That's what you get when you deal with a smaller, medium-sized SEO agency, right? With the big companies, if you're competing against 100 other fellow lawyers, fellow attorneys, who do they pick? Seriously, if you got 100 guys in Houston, who are they going to pick and put on the first page? So something to think about. Next, how do they communicate and how often? Set the communication preferences. I think the biggest problem with business relationships going south is the communication preference, right? Do you want me to call you once a week? No. Do you want me to call you once a month? Is just the monthly reporting fine? Okay. Do you want me to do the monthly reporting in a video format, which is what I do for all my customers? Because it's one thing to give you a report, but it's another thing to sit and explain it and then actually show you from third-party sources how we're doing for you, right? So again, the facts and evidence is the term that I hear you guys use all the time. You want to have that third-party source, and the communication preference is absolutely vital. You need that. So is it a video? Is it a report? Are you explaining it? How often? Stuff like that. Okay. And last but not least, this might even want to be your very first question you ask, so you can stop the conversation from there. How many people have you put on the first page of Google? Okay, pretty big deal, right? If they have not put anybody on the first page of Google, what do you think your chances are? Just saying, right? If you're not asking that question, how many people have you put on the first page of Google? If they haven't done it a couple of times, you're probably, well, it's going to be a really good experiment for you. Hopefully you got the right guy or gal, because, and make sure, I mean, just because they pull a website up, is their name on the website down at the bottom? Do they have, is the reviews in Google matching what they're telling you? I mean, if they haven't put anybody on the first page, I don't know, your call. So, I personally would not hire that person, right? So, but that was it. So I think really if you just keep it to a narrow, you know, we've been on here 16 minutes, so 15-minute conversation, right? 20-minute conversation with somebody. And this is with me rambling a little bit at you. Excuse me, just getting over something. So throat's drying out today, but if you're not asking the right questions, and sometimes if you're coming from outside the SEO world and you know what questions to ask, I completely understand that. But question of the day, have they put anybody on page one? Okay. And then follow the rest of the guidelines, and I think you'll have a really good experience. The problem is most people get so tied up and busy, running from case to case. You should be really busy. And it's not like you can just set it down and pick it back up. There's a lot of detailed work in your guys' line of profession, so it's time consuming, right? Same with SEO. So just make sure you're asking the right questions. Do your due diligence at the beginning. Get in bed with the right person, and you will have an absolutely great experience, because when it comes to local SEO, which is what I do, it is one of the most cheapest forms of advertisement once you get to that first page, and things in that website traffic's coming in. It's nothing but pure bliss, right? So, better than paying $400 a click for PPC or pay-per-click. And then you're competing with guys who are spending millions of dollars a month on that $400 per click. So, you don't need to. So just find a good local SEO guy who can help you out with that and your Google My Business listing. Otherwise, I hope today's video helped you. Again, if this helped you and you found a little bit of value in it, please take a minute and click the subscribe button down below. It really does help me and keeps me going making these videos. So again, thank you for your time. And as always, if there's anything Warren Michaels Digital Marketing Company can do for you, free SEO audit, or have a quick 10-15 minute conversation, always give me a call. I'm pretty easy to speak with, and we'll give you true, honest advice. Thank you.